So the request for water plant one was for a dually pickup truck, um, and where they would trade in an existing vehicle, and this pickup truck would be used to haul the new dredger that we have right now. They currently don't have a vehicle that's capable of hauling that piece of equipment. So that's what that request is for. Moving on to the lift station department, they have a 4-inch emergency pump that they want to buy. That would be a standby in case of emergencies, as well as a 6-inch standby pump as well.
What did we just recently buy? We bought a pump.
We bought a pump for the distribution department.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a 6-inch pump. And so these are standby. If I have Francisco. Francisco, are you there?
Yeah.
The department head. Francisco, if you want to explain what those emergency pumps, those requests are for. I can see him.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
He's on there.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
I know what a pump is, I think I know what an emergency pump is. But if we just approved one for the distribution department, and it's an emergency, it's not something used every day. Why can't the department share an emergency piece of equipment?
Primarily because lift stations work with wastewater and distribution is with regular water, and we don't want any cross-contamination.
Good answer.
Thank you. The requests, after discussing this with the budget committee on Monday, we determined that the self-priming pump motor and the rotating assemblies, those we can handle out of the major and minor repairs line items if needed. So we're going to go ahead and withdraw those requests.
I'm sorry, which ones?
The self-priming pump motors
Oh, okay.
and the T4 rotating assembly. Moving on to the distribution department. The distribution department is requesting a dually truck, and they would trade in a current unit 50. On that vehicle, it's needed. They've been having the truck that they're using right now to haul the mini excavator has been ending up in the shop lately. It's having trouble moving that vehicle, especially when it's pulling on the bridge. So we need to upgrade that truck to something that can a little bit larger truck that can handle that moving that vehicle around. That mini excavator is something that they use about 3 times a week. That piece of equipment is moved every week.
Eddie, is this in the collection part that you're talking about? I'm sorry, I lost.
Distribution.
Distribution, I'm sorry. Okay.
And Eddie, again, I heard at the meeting that it was used like 5 to 8 times a week, not 3.
Now I can hear.
No, on a weekly basis, about 3 to 5 days out of the week. Now, pulling it, like in the morning, afternoon, maybe about 8 times, you know, from one job site to another. But 3, 4 days out of the week for pulling.
Are you using a hitch trailer or a gooseneck trailer? Hitch trailer.
The next item is a tap mate replacement parts. Joel, do you want to explain what that is?
Yes, sir, what that is, the large tap cutter, tap machine, because it's AC and PVC, and that's from 4, 6, 8, up to 10 inch cutters. We've had the piece of equipment for about 18 years. So it's about time to buy the new part so we can extend the life of it. We have the cutters are dull, you can damage the pipe, causing a crack or a break, which we all don't want to do that. So it's been a real good piece of equipment that we can extend the life another 15, 20 years if we maintain it the way we want to.
So it's just for the replacement parts needed for that?
Yes, just that, brand new, I think around about 15 grand, 20 grand.
Okay. The next item is the AMI reader system. These are antennas, collectors, repeaters, hubs of parts for the automatic meter infrastructure. Now, this is the cost of what it would cost to replace all the parts. So, for example, if we were to be hit by some kind of storm that were to knock out all the infrastructure that's needed to collect all the readings from all over the area, the $88,500 is something that would cover all the replacement of those parts. There is a lead time of 3 weeks, and the warranty is only good for 1 year. So
1 year from purchase? Or
1 year from purchase.
From date of purchase.
Mhm.
And so you buy these things and you sit them in the warehouse for,
Exactly. So we couldn't.
Hey, I'd like to make a correction on that. That is for 3 or 4 antennas or for the system that might fall down. If we have to replace everything, we're looking at quite a bit more.
Oh, okay.
That's for 3 or 4 units that might go down. And we're anticipating the one on the water towers. Because we're at the highest point, we figure those will probably be the ones that will go down. Okay?
These all go on water towers, right?
Yes.
We have some on the water towers, we have on some poles that we erected ourselves.
Okay.
That are about 40, 45 feet up. But these are the ones that are primarily on the water tower.
Yeah.
And doing Visace, Laguna Heights, and Puerto Rico.
And we're not going to purchase these, we're just going to set the money
We're just gonna
aside.
have them standby in case we need them. We have the funds for them.
But we're gonna take the funds out.
So after further discussion with the budget committee, we think that maybe this is money that we can take out of the budget, and just if we're not planning on purchasing these and storing them, then it doesn't really make sense to have that budgeted, $88,000 there budgeted, that we're not really going to use unless there's an emergency.
if you don't mind. In this list of replacement parts, are any of these more than a multiple of one? I mean, it would make sense maybe to have one of this, one of this, one of this, but it makes no sense to have 3 of this and 5 of this and 4 of this. If you're just going to replace maybe one at a time, and as soon as you replace it, you can order another. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Some are on battery powered and some are on current powered. So it all depends which one goes down that we might have to replace.
But aren't the?
They're all similar. They're all similar, yes.
they're similar, but they're not exactly interchangeable, right?
Not exactly interchangeable.
That's what I was.
You got XSRs and XLCs and whatnot, so it depends which one gets damaged that we would have to replace.
Well, you really don't want to put yourself in a position where you can't collect data because of a bad antenna.
Well, on that, should they get damaged, we have a backup system. What the board agreed to purchase back then was a drive-by system as well. We can revert to a drive-by system while we get the shipments in and received. If it takes longer than 3 weeks, we'll be okay because our meter reader can go by driving and collect the readings anyway. So we're good to go.
So you want to take that out?
Yeah, I think we're recommending to take that one out. Moving on to the collection department. The collection department is requesting a mini excavator with a trailer. Now, the collection department has asked for a backhoe 2 years in a row, and that we haven't approved that. So this year, they're asking for a mini excavator, which is the backhoe is a $120,000 piece of equipment. The mini excavator can do a lot of that work, and it's something that's less than half the price, even with the trailer to haul it.
Did we just buy a mini excavator 2 years ago?
We did buy one last year
Last year.
for the construction department.
There's no way that they can use.
Here, here again, it's the same issue. It's water versus wastewater.
Yeah, but you're digging. With a pump, I can understand.
But if you have a sewer break and you're digging, you're gonna be digging up sewer with that. And you're gonna cause cross-contamination if you use it in the water site, and you have the same issue with the water.
I don't buy that because I know it can be clean. A pump, I can see problematic, with running sewage through a pump and then fresh water through the same pump. And hoping-
But-
But we're just digging dirt.
Right.
You're digging dirt for a sewage repair or digging dirt for a fresh water repair.
But there are a lot of times that collection department has asked to be able to use the mini excavator from one of the other departments, and it's in use quite a bit. The same thing with the mini excavator that Joel has. As he just mentioned, he uses it 3 to 5 times a week. And so it is construction. Right now, they've been working a lot with the water plant, and so they've been using quite a bit.
I would tend to believe that more than I would the cross-contamination problem.
Yeah, it's availability.
And Eddie, just right before that, you have a pickup truck.
Yes.
They took it away.
So in order to haul this mini excavator, a pickup truck is needed, but discussing with the budget committee, we think that this is a vehicle that we can transfer from another department. If we approve a similar purchase for construction, then the vehicle that they're currently using to haul their mini excavator can be transferred to the collection department, and that will allow us to withdraw that request of that pickup for the collection department.
And jumping ahead on that, Mr. Houston, the construction department is asking for $3,500, which is the same thing that they currently have. The difference is that they need a crew cab, and what they have right now is just a single bed or a single bench truck. So they can't put their crew in there other than just 2 people riding in it. Collections need a $3,500 to be able to haul their mini excavator, but they have a crew truck that they can use, so they're going to keep that. So it would be transferring that $3,500 from construction to collections, and collections getting a crew cab.
So collections has 2 3,500s.
They have one right now.
One right now, they're gonna wind up with 2.
Well,
Yes.
they have a crew cab. They don't have a $3,500,
Yeah.
but they would need that.
Do
to
they
be able
need
to-
the crew cab,
Yes.
collections?
Well,
No,
Because we could give that to,
that's what we're talking about.
oh, I see, yeah, okay.
The single cab that's in construction, if we approve the purchase for the construction vehicle, we can transfer their current vehicle to collections and satisfy their need for a vehicle capable of hauling
Pulling.
that.
And construction will get the crew cab.
yes, sir.
Right.
Correct.
And that's where I had mentioned earlier that we're gonna purchase some vehicles, pickup trucks.
Mhm.
And they had 4 in the list, but we reduced it to 3 only. Because of that transfer.
Let me ask you this. Seriously. During the Christmas parade, we had the mini excavator on the trailer, we had the lights off, remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
And I wanted to drive it, and they wouldn't let me drive. And it sort of pissed me off from that point. I'm just joking. But I want someone to tell me that we have to buy it. Not that we should buy it.
Wanted.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Need.
It's a full justified need.
Yes.
Yes. There is a need to be able to pull. The problem is that right now the collections is pulling their backhoe with the backhoe they have.
Backhoe, I'm sorry.
Yes. They're pulling it with Unit 17, that crew cab they have, but they're struggling with it. That truck has already been repaired, major repairs twice.
I'm talking about the truck, I'm talking about the mini excavator.
We need to buy that one also, yes.
I mean, but basically what happens is work takes longer to get done because they're waiting on equipment.
Yes.
And so having that equipment wouldn't allow them to keep pushing forward. I mean, would that be an accurate statement?
Yes.
Well, one
Plus-
of the things that I heard is that, he'd been requesting a backhoe, which is $120,000 worth, and we said no.
Yeah, well,
But
I
now
think-
it's a mini excavator where they can
Yeah.
get into the alleys or anywhere that's.
It's a lot more
really
versatile, a lot
straight,
more usable.
And it costs way less, like,
No, I see a lot more advantages to having a mini excavator.
so that's the other.
All right, so Mr.
Okay.
Gomez, you're on the line saying that you gotta buy this thing.
Yes, sir.
All right.
well, if I heard correctly, though, it's gonna improve the efficiency of how fast we get it done as well.
Well, he's in charge of operations, so he'd be the one to know.
Won't be long before they
Yes.
put a Bobcat distribution center here.
So moving on to the request for a
And
push.
just as a point of reference, I think part of the reason that has taken a while in collections is because we struggled to come up with the 350 just for the back truck. That was a big struggle, so that's what's been holding up that purchase. Just in all fairness, it's not like we didn't know we need something there, but that backhoe, or what is it, that's
We kept pushing it back because of
Right.
because of the cost, and the other because it's still just operational.
But we needed
But
the
it
back
does
truck a
need-
lot more than we did
Yeah.
that backhoe. Yeah.
Moving on to the request for a push video camera. Currently, we have a push video camera that is, it's been under repairs a lot. We've been having a lot of trouble. It's been in the shop for months, is my understanding. And we need to have a backup video camera. That one is, it costs us thousands of dollars every time we send it in for repairs, and it's aging, and we need to have a new push video camera. And so that's a request there. Any questions on that?
I got a question, just in general, especially with some of these items that are in desperate need of repair. How can we avoid that? How can we, in other words, how can we say, okay, we've reached a point, or maybe Mr. Samaniego can help us with this. At what point do we say, we're not going to spend any more money on that, and we're going to put it towards a new purchase? Instead of waiting till we already spent more than what it will cost to replace it. Is that something that you can look into, Mr.
Yeah,
Samaniego?
it's something that we take into consideration to include it on the budget, right?
Okay,
That the money that we spend over the year on repairs, that's why we're including this camera.
Yeah.
So the need to purchase a new camera instead of investing more money on repairs on.
right.
When the
So-
technology improves, I mean,
Yeah, the
honestly, the
technology
technology is,
Yes.
on that
Yes.
particular item is.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
that's true. This item, when it was new, it cost us a whole lot more than the 10,000.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's a point at which you say, okay, we can't spend more than this repairing this vehicle. How many times, this is the third year now? And we look at, okay, we already spent half of what it would cost to. In other words, if you have a target number and, or a percentage or whatever it is, the scale, at which point you say, you know what, we're not gonna spend more than this. This is your third year that you request this. We're not gonna, let's put in a request to purchase a new one, you know.
Yeah, we take,
We refer to on those purchases, like motors and pumps, when we get to the point where 70% of the cost is it's gonna cost to repair it.
Yeah,
We go like, well, 70 to 75%, and then.
yeah, let's buy a new one.
Better to buy a new one than have it worked on the next year again, you know, so between 70, 75%, we purchase a new.
It's kind of hard to tell though, because you don't know if it's, you know, when you fix it, you think it's going to work and be good, you know.
Yeah.
Turns around, breaks
Yeah.
again.
yeah. And that's part of the justification
The unknown.
process that we get from the managers.
Okay.
You know, attached to this, we have a list of all the justification forms that the managers give us, and one of the ways that they justify some of these purchases is to talk about the repair costs that we've been putting into old vehicles, for example.
Okay.
Moving on to the lab. The lab needs a new water purification system. This is something that they use for testing. The current system is very old, and it's barely above specifications. It's losing its sensitivity that's needed to perform the testing. So that's what that item is. The next item, the computer with dual monitor. After speaking with the budget committee, we determined that that's a purchase that we can make in the current year, and so it's not necessary to put that into the budget, so we can go ahead and withdraw that item.
The computer?
Yes. Moving on to the administration department. The administration department has is asking for a manhole training system and a multi-gas detector. So can you talk about this, Mr. Bones?
Sure. This is something that the safety officer is requesting to be able to provide training. Also, equipment that can be used in a manhole where they put a tripod and be able to lower or rescue somebody in a confined space. No. Well, I thought we did, but I'm
What was that again, the question?
that harness and all that they use for
The one they have now is being utilized for the towers,
towers.
right, and this is for manhole.
Right.
And confined spaces where, you know, they have to have a preparation beforehand, before they go in. And then right next to that is a multi-gas detector also, that goes hand in hand with that. That for any manholes that they need to inspect or go down, they have to get the gases out and then use that tripod to go down. And also for emergencies when they, you know, somebody, not only for training, but for emergencies purposes, they can use
Yeah.
it. So those are the two items for next to each other.
Safety, needed safety items. The next item is a flat roof repair. We have two small leaks on the flat roof. But after discussing with the budget committee, we determined that that's something that we can postpone at this time. It's not necessary to invest that money into the flat roof right now. That would put a whole new coating on the flat roof, but we think that that's something that can be postponed.
I think what we talked about is postponing the total replacement of that roof, not postponing the leaks. We were gonna fix the leaks.
Yes, we're going to fix the leaks. We're going to try to do some spot repair instead of doing a whole new.
And the idea is that there's some talk about adding some more office space that's needed for the administration. So I suggested, why don't we just pull that until we get ready to do that expansion and we don't have more mobility costs.
Can I see Dr. Lalonde in there?
Yes, he just joined right now.
Yes, Dr. Alonso and
I'm here, yes, thank you. Hello, you guys.
Hello, for the record, you have Dr. Lalonde and board
Jason-
member
Jason
Starkey. Where's Starkey?
He's there.
Oh, in the corner. This all.
My apologies, had to finish some billings, took a little extra time.
No problem, no problem. Moving on to, the administration has a staffing request for an HR assistant. Do you want to talk about that?
That's what I mentioned earlier about the HR position that is in need right now. We do have a temporary position in there, but I believe that it'd be best if we do have a full-time and have her available when needed, because she'll be helping HR in her part of filing management assistant, because you have, Mary, are you there? You have like 9, 10 departments where she assists the managers for any type of emergency, like somebody has an accident and they have to fill in paperwork, get sent to the doctor or hospital, and then somebody has to be available at all times there. And like right now, like I mentioned earlier, the payroll clerk that we have is out on maternity leave, so she's kind of getting behind on some of the stuff, but she's doing her best, actually working more hours, and that's the reason that we are in dire need of getting her help.
And in addition to that, that person will help us fill backup in case whatever is needed. There's other areas in which I train managers, that coach them on performance in other areas, management areas in which they can get better. And that's something that is very important for me to go ahead and be able to provide those training according to the law. You know, the laws are changing all the time, so that will be a big support.
And I mentioned also that we did cut down on the pickup trucks and the other,
One pickup truck.
one pickup truck and the other, equipment that we did away with, mostly to have those positions available. So we're trying our best to cut everything, so I hope the board understands that part.
Moving on to the wastewater department is asking for a new front loader. So my understanding, this is something that's used. I don't know. Maybe you guys can talk about this.
It's here.
Yeah, you can talk
Yeah,
about
The front
existing
loader?
Front end loader, the existing one that they have is from 2004, and it's at the island all the time. It's under the trough where all the sludge comes in and it falls in it, and then they carry the sludge into the big containers. So it's under the environment there, the salinity, and they wash it off, but you know,
Yeah, it's been there a really long time.
and when
Yeah.
you use the water, the moisture and everything, I guess it corrodes more somehow. But they
It's
do
pretty
keep it
rusted
clean
out.
And under storage, they're in need of a new one also.
But that new one, Mark, I know you're out there, I saw you.
Yes, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this front loader also will be used at Andy Bowie. The next piece of equipment that's being asked for is to be able to service Andy Bowie as far as the sludge is concerned. It's
That's correct.
It's a belt press, and so we need to be able to get the sludge out and put it into the bins for hauling into the monolift, monofill rather.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you.
So yeah, And so we, as mentioned, a dewatering screw press. That's a big piece of equipment, but basically it pulls the water out of the sludge, and the front loader catches it and goes and disposes of it in the proper container. So the dewatering screw press right now is a piece of equipment that they need they're falling behind, right, at Lmwd, is that right?
Yeah, we would have been in a lot of problems this year had we had the same amount of tourists or traffic that we had last year, because of the rain that it kept constantly getting the sludge wet, so it wasn't drying off. The sludge beds were full, and fortunately we didn't have that kind of traffic. Otherwise we would have been in trouble with TCEQ.
So that's something. This is the third consecutive year that Mark asked for that piece of equipment. So we are in agreement now that it's time to purchase that piece of equipment.
That would be a one-time purchase which would last
And
15 to 20 years.
if I may,
Yes. Go
Yes,
ahead.
go ahead, Mark.
it would also serve as a backup. It would also serve as a backup for the belt press we have currently at Lisa Blanca.
At
If
Isla
anything ever
Blanca.
happens to that one, that piece of equipment is 26, 27 years old. When anything happens to that one, Isla Blanca needs some kind of dewatering equipment there. So it would serve as a backup for Isla Blanca too.
The issue that they have there is that the drying beds, I think they're limited to 4 or 5 drying beds, and
4 beds.
that's not enough with the rain that we've been having, or, you know, the drying time is taking longer when it rains, and then if it's sunny every day, it'd be good, but we don't have sunny days all the time. So the moisture and those, the drying beds has to be removed. So to move them out, to move the sludge out of it. So that's one of the issues that we have. The small drying beds and not enough drying beds to apply with dewatering and desludging the system, taking the sludge out.
Did we go over the containment area?
No, I'll discuss that right now. The containment area rehabilitation, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, those are the walls that where the sludge comes in, and those walls are, especially at Isla Blanca, they're pretty eaten up. At Isla Blanca, it's about halfway through where the A2S has really eaten up that containment wall, and they need to be fixed. It's Isla Blanca, Andy Bowie, and Laguna Vista.
Or they constructed that.
Cement? Man, we need to go ahead and build them back up, and then they'll put an epoxy.
Epoxy liner.
Yes, sir.
And I think that we kind of caused some of that erosion or corrosion by putting in the filtration system on those grates.
Well, that
We
filtration
accelerated-
system
we
came in
accelerated
It sped it up.
just recently, with this past year.
Okay.
But what's happened with that filtration system is that it's corroding it faster. But that corrosion was already,
Accelerating the process.
yeah, it's accelerating the process. But
Right.
those walls were already in pretty bad shape. They're
Right.
just getting a little bit worse now with that filtration system, because the A2S has nowhere to go. So it's just there.
The covers that we put on for odor control, it's
Yeah.
trapping the H2S gas, and it's accelerating the process of
We need to see
corroding
how we
that
can fix
concrete.
that A2S so that it can, maybe on a plume or something, so it can go
Yeah, I
up.
was under the impression that there are systems out there that will take that gas and filter it out before it releases it into the air.
Yeah.
But that's expensive in and of itself as well. So, and you'd have to put one at every wastewater plant.
Yeah.
Moving on to my department, the finance department. The finance department is requesting an SUV, and we would trade in the 12-passenger van that we currently have. And that would, right now what's happening is administration has one vehicle and finance has another. And a lot of employees that need to use the van end up borrowing Mr. Gomez's truck, and that leaves him a lot of times when he wants to go out into the field without a vehicle, because my employees, either because they had to go to the bank, go to the post office, go to the warehouse, or IT, going to different facilities, and then leaves Mr. Gomez without a truck. So we've been trying, I've talked to them about using the van more often, but some of them just don't feel comfortable with that large 12-passenger van. So
I think we need to keep the van, just so we can take people to and use.
It's fairly new too. It's only like 2 years old, 3 years old.
Fairly new.
It's fairly new.
It seems like the answer to the problem is to get the people used to driving the van. You're
Well-
just saying they don't want to drive the van. To me, that's not an excuse to get another car.
Yeah, that's why we came up with the idea of just trading it, because it doesn't get used very much at all. I think the last time anybody used that van, we were in it. And that was 3 years ago. But just as a point of discussion, is there any merit in paying them to use their own car, giving them funds to use their own car?
Mileage?
I mean, especially
Yeah.
finance, because you're not going out into the field, you're going to the bank, so.
It's liability slash.
Is it a liability
insurance.
issue?
mhm,
Okay,
yes, there is
okay.
liability issue.
Yeah, I just thought I'd ask.
It's just a matter that the ladies that take the money or deposit to the banks, having a hard time driving that big van,
Yeah.
taking turns, reversing and whatnot.
And does it cost much? Does it cost much to get the?
Well, what we've done to work around it is we've been having another employee who is comfortable driving but now it ties up 2 employees. So that's the workaround that we've done. But
Does it cost much to have a pickup from the bank? Is it pretty expensive? Yeah. Okay.
And we gotta buy a $30,000 car to drive back and forth to the bank?
No, but it's
Would be utilized for
something
other
that's
purposes, like one of the
ideal.
vehicles and-
So right now we don't. Yes, an SUV would be ideal. Could we try a different vehicle, something smaller maybe? Yeah.
I guess,
we could look into that.
I'm just thinking about a
It-
$20,000 RAV4.
Well, the idea was to replace the 12-passenger van, so we wanted something large enough that would take multiple passengers. A RAV4 is basically a car.
You're not
That-
getting anything trading in him, so let's be honest, you're better off keeping it than trading it in.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm not
But
in
this
favor
vehicle
of
would also-
trading it in.
I'm not in
in
favor
favor
either.
of getting another vehicle.
This vehicle would also be used by billing, because they take all their,
It's $30,000 that we really don't need to spend. They can utilize the van and they can, look, when my wife started getting pregnant and having kids, she went from a small car to a van. She didn't like it, but she got used to it. So, I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what I see. I don't see the need to spend the money.
Don't forget the trainings.
Yes. So, yes, there's trainings that we go to with multiple employees. So having a large enough vehicle to take groups of employees is useful, but yeah.
Yeah, but the-
12-passenger van?
It's the
Okay.
Chevy Express is just really huge every time. That's the main issue here. It's going.
Yeah, that's the main issue, is just
Just
some of
big.
the employees just don't feel comfortable driving it. It's a really large van, so.
They're supposed to be large. That's what they call them.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely take that out.
I mean, that's just my,
Mhm.
I don't know, if it was me and we really needed it, I don't know why we gotta buy a brand new Chevy reverse for that. I mean, I'm not joking, I've been using the 13-year-old RAV4 for 13 years to drive patients around, pick them up, pick up families, go to the bank, go to the post office, all the exact same stuff you guys use it for. Drove it to San Antonio with 6 girls in it once. And I see a lot of RAV4s going around. You can pick up one. If it's just, hey, we use it every now and then for the bank, I don't know why we got to buy a brand new car for that. I don't know. It just seems like, those types of cars you can get a lot of life out of.
Yeah, if we're gonna keep the van, the 12-passenger van, then we can definitely go down then to a smaller vehicle.
or no vehicle.
Or you could just get rid of the van, trade it in for a RAV4 with a, third row in it. I mean, there's.
Well, keep in mind that this is not used just to go to the bank. IT uses it a lot to go into the lift stations, the water plants, the wastewater plants, as well as billing. They always use it when they're gonna, huh?
I get stuck in the sediment vector with Lmwd, so I had many issues where I run it off to the side of the road when it's raining. So I run into that issue a lot. But it's not always raining, obviously, right? But I'm the one that uses that vehicle a lot to travel with trainers, computers, etc.
So then I would think a van, you would like a big car.
I have an issue driving a van over the causeway on a rainy day.
You gotta get used to that. You gotta get used to that.
Just go faster. That's what I do. I just go faster. I have a van and I know.
What I do is I hedge the inside barrier. The wind's out of the north, you hedge the barrier. Hey, I've been doing it for 40 years. If I can do it, you can.
Okay. The next item is accounts receivable module. After discussing this with the budget committee, I decided to go ahead and withdraw that item.
We're not going to do that after all?
No. The last item is a senior warehouse attendant. Right now we have one warehouse attendant, and we have another employee who's full-time but works part-time in 2 different departments. One in the fleet maintenance department, and the other part-time in the warehouse. Right now, that's not sufficient for either department. Both the departments want want to change that part-time position into a full-time position. So we're requesting if we add on this warehouse attendant, we'll have a backup for the warehouse, basically.
So is it going to be a part-time person?
No.
No, it's
This
a
would be
full-time.
full-time position, yes.
Okay, and this is a new hire?
Mhm. So instead of 1 full-time and one part-time, we will have 2 full-time.
And I know we talked a little bit about that, about this, but remind me, this is basically going to be the person who does the inventory control, basically, and does all the data entry for what we have.
Yes.
We're going to create basically a system.
We're upgrading the warehouse with more computerized inventory system, and I need to have somebody else that is trained in this system, not just have a single employee, which is what I have right now.
And well, the main problem is that nobody's keeping track of the inventory at the warehouse.
It's a very manual system right now.
Right. And we don't have a dedicated person, so consequently, people take things out and don't record them, and we don't know exactly what we have.
We need to have more
control.
Yes.
And we do have a person that's responsible for it and keep but it's only one person, and when he's out, the other temporary guy that comes in, he's more into the mechanic shop,
Right.
training than the warehouse. So we need somebody that's more responsible and can handle the job better than the part-time guy
Yeah.
that comes in.
Yes, so
How long has it been like
there's
this?
there's safety issues and there's loss prevention issues that we need somebody who's dedicated just to the warehouse.
Eddie, how long have we been working under the current scenario?
Well,
Yeah, forever.
I've been
Yeah.
here 2 years, so.
Forever.
Well,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have one person for
So, yeah, Mr. Galvan says as long as he knows forever.
So we've been okay like this forever,
Are we?
or if we've identified a new problem. I guess I just want to understand better why we need to spend the additional money forever on this by bringing on a new full-time employee that's going to be here on our bottom line for the foreseeable future. Help explain what has changed. We've been functioning, forever apparently, and now we can't keep functioning. We need a new person. What's different?
I can tell you, let me try to answer a little bit of that. I've been to the warehouse. There's problems there. To me, it looks like inventory problems. Nobody's keeping track of it. You need somebody to do that, and the only way you can really see the problem is to go down there and look at it, in all honesty.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would. I think this is a really good position, but what I would like to see is a little bit more control over that warehouse. Storing, the data entry, who takes what, and from what department, things like that. That's what I would like to see out
Yeah,
of this position.
Mr. Galvan and I discussed,
Because I basically see it as the same thing that we did when we established the purchasing agent. More control over the purchasing. In this case, it's more control over inventory and know what we have at any given time, which is something we don't have now.
No, it's got a few more minutes.
I'm gonna chime in now. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Is my audio okay? Because I've been having trouble with these things. But you guys can hear me okay?
Yep.
yes.
So, Alex, tracking with your point, and then I'll pose this question to the group. With our inventory issues, do you think that enough inventory is walking off that potentially this position would essentially pay in large part for itself for the oversight that it would bring to our warehouse and said inventory?
I think that it would, actually. How long it would take to do that is another question, but it's something that you definitely need. I mean, I can't say that it'll pay for itself in the first year, but otherwise, if you don't do anything, you're going to continue having the same problem. You guys should go visit that warehouse, and you'd understand exactly what I'm talking about.
You're really not talking about stuff walking off.
No, we're not talking about stuff walking off. We're talking about
Getting a handle on what you have.
getting a handle on what we have, yes. Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff out there, there's a lot of parts, but it's not sorted. It's not put away properly, it's not stored right, it's not, and the last thing I want is to carry all that inventory, and then when we do need it, it's been out in the rain too long, or nobody paid attention to it, it's got stuff growing in it or whatever. And that's what we need to clean that up.
Okay, and I'm not in disagreement. So my next point, in regards to what we discussed earlier, pertaining specifically to our capital inventory, talking about trucks, mini excavators, trailers, anything possible more than 10 grand that's got wheels or whatnot. I'd like to see some sort of a document spreadsheet of our inventory. I'd like to know when it was purchased, how much it cost when it was purchased. If we even have a running tally of maintenance to date, the question was posed earlier, like what point do we need to start considering purchasing new capital equipment? The answer that I'd have to that would be somewhere around 40 to 60% of its original value. But we can hem haul around percentages, but we have a lot of discussions about we need another excavator, we need another truck. Well, I'd like to know how many trucks we have. And furthermore, I'd like to know who's driving. This truck we bought in 2003, this is the team that's assigned to it. this is how, so from that, I can start to really get a bigger picture of what our fleet looks like.
Well,
Therefore, make a more informed decision on when these things come up.
I know, Jason, I know that we did, I think last year, bought some new software for for Bart, the fleet manager. And the whole point and intent there was to have him start doing exactly what you're talking about, is cataloging every single vehicle, every dime, every time it goes in for service, all those things. I don't know at what point he's at with that, but that is the reason we bought that software. We do need to do that. We do need to take better control, and that was the intent of the software. I think the other thing that we need to consider is that unless we start making space for warehousing some of this equipment, we're always going to have issues with it.
Less life expectancy.
So yeah, we lessen the life especially on the island. If we're going to have things sitting out there, then yeah, they're not going to last very long. But if we consider, putting a warehouse in or somehow keeping it out of the elements, then yeah, we're going to get a lot more life out of our tools.
And I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I think a good starting place is
Yeah,
a
we need to
real
get that.
detailed capital equipment inventory sheet. And I know we're at 5:30 now. so we gotta
Yeah.
Do you
start.
want to have another workshop?
Okay. There's a motion to-
We'll have a workshop next meeting.
The next meeting, you only need 30 minutes, probably.
Yes.
Full hour.
We'll update everything and bring it back to the board.
Well,
The next meeting will start at 5.
Next time we can talk about, finish out the general fund and have the discussion on capital projects.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, our workshop is adjourned at 5:31 PM.